What's going on, my eaters? It's your boy Chef Drew, aka Chef, aka Big Drew. And today, y'all, we are cooking ackee and saltfish for y'all. But yo, listen, before we get into this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do to help us continue to bring you this here great content. Let's go. All right, y'all. So, like I said, we are going to be making ackee and saltfish today. Also known as salted cod. Some places call it bacalao. This is the national dish of Jamaica. As y'all know, you've heard me talk about many times. I am first generation Jamaican American. The foundation of my culinary background and my cooking ability come from a Jamaican cooking. This dish is home cooking for me. It's something that was on the menu at least once a week my entire life. Not so much now that I'm not at my mama's house anymore. However, I grew up eating this dish. You know, when we're filming this, we're around, you know, the new year, the holidays and stuff. And when I'm around the holidays, I start feeling a little nostalgic. So I'm like, yo, what can I do for my eaters that'll show them a little bit of me, something I haven't done before. And yo, I'm about to go on some diet restrictions. I'm not going to be able to eat this. So I'm like, yo, let me get this in one more time before the doctor cuts me off. So we're going to make some ackee and saltfish. I'll talk to you about it a little bit. Ackee and saltfish. Ackee is a fruit from Jamaica, indigenous to Jamaica. It's the fruity part of like an orangey reddish pod. You have to let these pods ripe to full maturity. You know they're ripe because they open up and you'll see the yellow fruit with the black seed inside the pod. If you do not wait for the fruit to ripen fully and try to open the pod itself, it cannot work out for you. So don't do that. If you're ever around the ackee tree, let the pods open on their own and then put in work. So ackee is a fruit from Jamaica. It's a key ingredient in the national dish. In America, you can't buy it fresh, but you can get it in these cans. In some parts of America, I know when I lived in Miami, tropical area, some people did somehow, some kind of way have ackee trees, and you can get it fresh in those rare situations in the States. But otherwise, if you want ackee, you can get it, but you're gonna get it in the can. So ackee, we're gonna have salted cod. I'll show you that in a second. Sauteed with tomatoes, onions, some fresh thyme, some other spice, garlic, some other spices and things like that. But let's start putting this thing together for y'all. All right, y'all, so we got salted cod. I'll show you a little picture of the salted cod in the package. We soak the cod overnight, or as long as possible, ideally overnight. You just want to get off a lot of that excess salt off the fish. Soak it overnight or for as long as you can, at least, 4 to 6 hours. Pour that water off. Put the cod in a pot, some kind of pot, stock pot, whatever, and then you want to boil it. And what you're doing now when you're boiling it is you're boiling off more of the salt from the salted cod and you're tenderizing the fish. So now we've done all that. We have the salted cod here, and you have two different schools of thought. You have some people who, like me, like the cod more chunky like this. And then you have some people, they really want to break the cod up. And so it looks more like that. It's a matter of preference. I like big chunky pieces like this. But if you like it more fine or what have you, it's to your preference. This dish is a very personal dish. Think more about the ingredients and the method of preparation. The details of it, you can lean on your own understanding, make it to your preferences. Some people make it without the fish if they're vegan or vegetarian. Some people like to put pork in it, like bacon or pork fat or what have you. But, you know, I'm gonna show you the basics and then you make it how you want to make it. So there's the codfish. Like I said, I like mine chunky. Make that flaky. Put that to the side. Now I already have here some vegetables. I have some onions, some tomatoes diced, usually just some regular plum tomatoes, and some fresh thyme. Just because, like I've told you before, thyme is in everything Jamaican, dang near. But we're gonna saute these up. We're gonna sweat them a little bit. Not really saute them, but sweat them because we want all the juices of everything to kind of marry together. So you don't want your heat too hot. You just want enough to make the vegetables cook down a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, y'all, so like I said, I got some pans over here going. In the saute pan over here, I got some coconut oil preheated. We're gonna sweat these vegetables and I'm just gonna show you guys how to start putting this together. Like I said, I got tomatoes and onions here. It's very, very personal. I kind of julienne my onion, and I small to medium diced my tomatoes. When I was growing up, my dad used to like to cut his tomatoes into wedges. I've seen people cut them into slices. I've seen people dice their onions. Again, do it how you want to do it. We're gonna get these onions to cook just a little bit first. And then y'all are gonna see this dish comes together as far as assembling it pretty quickly. Now, normally I would, sprinkle a little bit of salt in these onions and the vegetables I'm cooking. However, I'm gonna hold the salt to the end. This is called ackee in salt fish. So there's a good amount of salt in the codfish already, and so I don't wanna over salt it. So I'll put it all together and then taste it at the end and then adjust the seasoning. So we have the onions in here. We just gave them a little bit more of a head start. Now we're gonna put these tomatoes in here as well. Now, one of the reasons it's very important to make sure in this dish specifically that your pan is not too hot is because you want the natural juices from the onions and the tomatoes to all stay in the pan. If you overheat your pan and the vegetables start immediately browning, it's gonna dry up and suck up a lot of that natural juice, and you want those for layers of flavor in the final dish. So we're gonna give this a little toss, a little stir, spread those tomatoes and onions out. I'm gonna turn the fire up just a little bit. Always watch the fire, y'all. Y'all control the fire. Don't let the fire control you. Sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. Again, we put some thyme in there. And we got a little bit of minced garlic. Now listen, y'all. Typically, I will get some fresh garlic. I like to slice my garlic for this dish. I probably would do 5, 6 cloves of garlic, but I like a lot of garlic. You adjust it how you want to, but typically I would slice it a little bit and then saute the sliced garlic in here with the vegetables. Feeling a little lazy today, so we got minced garlic today, but y'all do it how y'all want to do it. What we're doing in here is we're letting all those vegetables just kind of marry together. Let the thyme get in there. As you can see, there's a lot of moisture still in there. Y'all, this thing is already doing what it's doing. So, at this point, I'm gonna season it with a little bit of black pepper. I'm gonna give this a toss. And y'all, the honest truth is, we're already landing this plane a bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the codfish in here, and then I'm gonna put the ackee on top of it, and I'm gonna put a lid on this thing and kind of let it stew by itself for a little bit. Here's the codfish. Y'all, so this is what I do. I don't like my fish broken up. So I kind of just lay it all in there in a nice, even layer. At this point, the fish is already cooked. So we're just heating it up. And then the ackee, again, it's already cooked and it's very delicate, so I just spread it out over the top. This is what they look like. I spread it out over the top, y'all. And we're gonna put this fire on low to medium. I put just a little bit of water in there for a little moisture assistance. And y'all, we put the lid on it. And we're gonna let that sit there for 10 to 20 minutes and just become wonderful together. And I'm gonna show you what we're gonna eat this with. All right, y'all, so we got the ackee and saltfish on the stove. It's doing what it's doing. What were we gonna make to eat this ackee saltfish with? And the first thing that came to mind were Jamaican fried dumplings. Listen, there's not no real rocket scientist to these dumplings. They're not dumplings like a lot of people are accustomed to. We're literally talking like flour, water, baking powder, little sugar, little salt, rubbed to a dough ball, and fried. So, however, for some reason, y'all, they are good. I don't make them that often, but when I do, I enjoy them, and they are a perfect vessel for Jamaican cuisine. People eat them by themselves. People eat them with ackee and saltfish. People eat them, I've seen them eat them with curry goat, salted mackerel, Jamaican fried dumplings. So here I got about a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. There's no measurements here, y'all. There ain't no measurements here. Cup and a half of flour. We're gonna take like I'm doing this for y'all, like a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Just a little bit. The baking powder helps the dumplings kind of rise up, fluff up a little bit. We have a little bit of regular sugar. If you like yours a little bit sweeter, do that. If you don't, make them less sweet. The sugar also helps give the dumplings a nice little, helps with the color. Me, I'm gonna do about half a tablespoon. A little bit of salt. Oops. All right, so y'all, what I do is I put a little bit of oil on my hands when I'm mixing these up because you don't want to, I just don't like the little floury, doughy mess that becomes of your hands. So I put a little bit of oil on my hands and that helps fix that situation. You're gonna need water and you wanna make sure you also have a little more flour nearby if you need it. I use water to make these, that's what I've always seen, but I saw somebody today making them with 2% milk. I have not done that. I'm kind of a traditionalist, but I might try at some point. Y'all try, put it in the comments, let me know what you think. So yeah, so all we're doing, a little bit of oil on your hands. Like I said, it helps the flour and stuff not stick. You'll see why in a minute. It's just regular coconut oil, y'all. And y'all, all we're gonna do is start adding the water a little bit at a time. Add the water slowly, and then mix until the ball incorporates into like a dough ball. So we'll start there. For some reason, y'all, when I started making this stuff, my mama was showing me how to make these things. I always had a hard time with this daggone moisture situation, y'all. And it would always get very, very frustrating and interesting. But one day I learned, you gotta listen to your mama. I wasn't listening. A little bit at a time. It's better to put too little water than too much, trust me. You mean to make dumplings for a few people, and next thing you know, you got 2 dozen, because you can't daggone figure out the water and the moisture. And you just mix it until it starts to come together. A little more water, a little bit at a time. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. And you will find that it'll just start coming together. You don't want the dough to feel wet. You want it to come together, but you don't want it to feel wet. Now, if y'all look here, the dough has pretty much come together. I don't really want to put no more water in there or any more moisture because there's not really any more dough in the bowl, but it's too wet to do what I need to do with it. So this is what I mean when I said make sure you have a little bit more flour nearby just in case you need it. It's for this situation here. As you see, because I oiled my gloves, I don't have crazy amounts of flour all over the place. So I got a little bit more flour here. And I'm just gonna use that to help kind of dry this, absorb some of the water that's still in here. Just a little bit more. All right, y'all, the dough is about there. As I said, I had to put a little bit more flour in there to kind of get this dough to tack up the way I want it to. And you know, I say, now y'all, I'm gonna be honest. If you look out there and you see 20 people make these things, you're gonna see it done 20 different ways. One of the things that I've noticed a lot, and Gwen has noticed a lot, is that when people make these dumplings, we feel like they work the dough too much. We never really work it like they do. We bring it together until it's a nice dough ball like that. It's still pliable. And that's it. The more you work it, I feel like the tougher the dough gets. And so here, listen, this is just for me and the show. So this amount of dough here could typically make probably like half a dozen dumplings. I think I'm gonna just do 4. So we're gonna break it in half. And then we're gonna break those halves in half. I'm gonna do it again. And there you got 4 dumplings. We have some oil over here setting up for them, and we're gonna fry them off. Little uniform dumpling balls, y'all. You want them to look kind of uniform. There you go. Now we're gonna fry them off, and we're gonna land this ackee and saltfish plain. All right, y'all, so we got a pan of coconut oil. You use whatever frying oil you want. We're using coconut oil. I have the dumplings here, and we're just gonna lay them in the pan. Make sure when you're laying these down in the pan that you lay them away from you, kind of lay them so the oil does not splash on you when you're doing this. Take it from me. Now, some people would say my dumplings are too big. We're gonna see what happens, y'all. I think they'll be okay. Maybe they could have been 5 instead of 4, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. You want a nice, easy frying. You want to make sure you're frying the dumplings so you can get that hard, crispy exterior, but you don't want them to brown too fast. You don't want the outside to cook before the inside does. So you leave them on this side for a few minutes, probably 2 to 3 minutes. We'll turn them over, let them cook for another 2 to 3 minutes, and then kind of see where we are. The ackee and saltfish are in the pan, still doing what it does. All right, y'all, so you can see the dumplings, they've gotten nice and plump. I can see they're starting to turn golden brown on the edges. We're gonna turn them over and let the other side cook. I like to use a fork. All right, y'all, they've gotten a little bit more brown than I would like. However, they're still gonna be delicious. My father would say I done committed the most epic of failures and I have ruined everything for breakfast today. This is typically a breakfast dish. However, as I've got, at least in my house growing up, it was a breakfast dish, but I have found as I've gotten older, people eat ackee and saltfish whenever they want to eat some ackee and saltfish. So, Dad, rest in peace. I'm sure the meal is not over, I promise. So y'all, we are literally just waiting and letting the other side, the exterior side, turn golden brown. And we just also want to make sure the middle of the dumpling is not raw dough. That's where the magic comes in. I'm a little nervous, but I think I got it. All All right, y'all, I think these dumplings are about ready. I'm gonna give them one more turn. Woo. See, gotta be careful, y'all. Jumped up and got me. Those are ready. We're gonna turn this fire off. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these out of the hot pan and set them to the side and let them rest for just a little bit. All right, y'all, so we got the ackee and saltfish ready. We fried the dumplings, they're resting. If you remember, we did not really salt or pepper the ackee and saltfish. So right now, before we serve it up, I'm gonna taste it, see where the seasoning needs to be, and do that, and then we're gonna plate it up. So here's the ackee and saltfish. Y'all, it's very important. I like to keep the integrity of all the ingredients. Like I keep saying, I don't like for the ackee or the fish to get real mashed up. I like for it to stay whole. So I'm gonna season it and then we're gonna fold so to keep the integrity of some of the ingredients. So the salt is decent, but it could use a little bit more. So we're gonna put a little bit of salt in here. Of course. A little bit of salt. Remember, y'all can always add salt, but you can't take it out. So same with pepper, so just be careful. A little bit of black pepper. That should be good to go. We're gonna use this wooden spoon to fold it and fluff it from the bottom to the top. From the bottom to the top. All the way around. You just want to incorporate it. You don't want to break anything up too much. Y'all, I wish y'all could smell this. You look in there. It's all the juices from the tomatoes and the onions. A little bit of water we put in there. So here's the ackee and saltfish incorporated. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of these dumplings. You can see. Take one of those. And y'all, this is how it's done. And y'all, there we have it, some authentic Jamaican, ackee and saltfish with fried dumplings. Now listen, y'all. I want you to also know, traditionally, people eat ackee and saltfish with rice, white rice. They eat it with boiled green bananas. They eat it with a festival. They eat it with boiled yams or cassava, cocoa. We did it with fried dumplings. A lot of times in typical Jamaican household, you'll have dumplings with green bananas and other cooked food that have you. But this is ackee and saltfish. Let's see how it tastes, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me, you kind of gotta eat this, get your hands in it. I'm gonna eat it a little bit civilized. Y'all, you gotta get some of that juice with the dumplings. Y'all, ackee and saltfish, fried dumplings, Chef Drew's way. This tastes delicious, y'all. But the truth of the matter, I did not do this video today just to talk about ackee and saltfish. You know, like I said earlier, it's the holiday times. My family has lost a lot of people in the last few years. The holidays look different for us. And I found myself thinking about, you know, the good old days, or reminiscing on times with my parents in the kitchen and just where I come from. And I thought, what better time to talk about this piece of me, this piece of my story, and drive it back home to our businesses and our entrepreneurial endeavors. Listen, y'all, life changes, seasons change, businesses change. But as you're going into this new year, as we're transitioning into a new season, I want to also encourage you, just like going back to the ackee and saltfish is my roots, is my foundation, we have to remember that in our businesses too, y'all. So going into 2025, let's remember why. Let's remember why we've started these businesses. Let's remember where these businesses come from. Let's remember the obstacles we've overcome to get to this point right here. Let us never ever forget where we come from, the foundation of what we're doing, who we're doing it for, why we're doing it for, our purpose and our meaning, y'all. Y'all, as always, we bring you this content, y'all, to help empower you, excite you, educate you into the lives and the businesses that you want for yourselves. So please, thank you for tuning in with us this week. Make sure you like and subscribe, do all the things that you need to do to help us continue to bring you this content. Please remember to check out our homeboys on all podcast platforms, Chuck and John, or Last Night's Coffee with Chuck and John. Great guys, great content. And y'all, I'm gonna finish eating this ackee and saltfish and this dumpling. Until next time, we are gone.